I think we can start. It's
Okay.
6 minutes actually.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Good evening, everyone, dear colleagues. We are really glad to see you today, and especially tonight, and especially we are really glad to see our guest speaker today, August Garnsey. He's an English teacher specialist from the US, from Chicago, from Florida. Maybe he can explain all different locations to you yourself if we have time. Yeah, so but basically he's from the US. He's an English teacher, and he worked in Kazakhstan before. He worked in Nazarbayev intellectual schools in Kokshetau, and he's pretty much aware and he knows about Kazakhstani education system and curriculum. That's the most reason I was interested to invite August Garnsey as a guest speaker, because our contest, Best English Video Lesson uh, plan is about trying to combine American English resources and Kazakhstani curriculum. And I think August may have a good contribution and help to your project. Okay, thank you, August. Good morning to you, because here is an 8 p.m. It's evening time, and as far as I know, is very not very early, but still morning.
Yes. Yeah, it is. Yes, it is early morning. It's not too early, but still, you could consider it early morning. A little after 9 a.m. for me, and it's a little after 8 p.m. for you guys there where you're at. So I'm really glad to be here. So good evening, everyone. Thank you for Albina and ATENK. Thank you for inviting me to come join you to help provide some insight and some information to help assist in this fabulous contest that I've heard about that your association is doing, this Best Video English lesson. I'm not sure if I'm getting the actual phrasing right, but it's Best Video English Lesson, right?
Best English video lesson.
Oh, okay.
VL.
Okay. Well, I'll probably keep referring to it throughout this session as your video contest, your English video contest. I'll say that. So, but I'm really glad to be here to help provide some insight to hopefully help assist you in being able to make some, really being able to make some, not just making good videos, but being able to make some, how should I say, some meaningful videos that can actually really go beyond just this video contest, and that you can use some of these resources in just all of your future teaching practices. So this is not just specifically going to be for video one and done and that's it, but I hope you can take some of this with you going forward and other things that you do in your teaching practice. But I'll definitely make sure that we target some key points specifically about the video contest. Okay. All right, everybody. So let me go ahead and share my screen and my PowerPoint. We're starting about 10 after here. So hopefully I can probably finish and wrap things up here about 5 after 9. I think that'll be probably a good estimate of time. I think about 5 after 9, we'll set our clocks for then hopefully and be done in about 55 minutes. Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and share my screen. Okay, so looks like we have a little over 40 participants right now. Got a real great number of participants here. Okay. Oops. Move this out of the way here. Oops. All right. So our presentation today here that I'll be doing, American English online resources for, I'm just calling it instructional ELT videos in Kazakhstan, but you can kind of get the gist that, again, this is going to be things that can help you with your English video contests that you'll be doing, the videos that you'll be making coming up here very soon. All right. And before we kind of go any further, just let everybody know about consent to use any kind of photographic image and audio, potentially from my reports or for other promotional information with the U.S. Department of State or the U.S. Embassy there in Kazakhstan for some of our English language programs. That you all agree to that before we go further. And Albina kind of mentioned some things about me. So so I am currently the virtual English language fellow for Nur Sultan. I currently teach some in the master's and also undergraduate programs for 2 foreign languages. So for the teacher training program at Eurasian National University in Nur Sultan. So I'm a part of that foreign theory, languages, and practice department there. Also, some other things I do, I work with teens through the U.S. Department of State English Access Micro Scholarship Program. I've had a couple different groups. I've had a group in Simi I was working with, a group in Atbasar in Akmola region. So for that, I kind of work around Kazakhstan. And then some of you may have joined me in some of the webinars that I did during like November and December through American Corners Kazakhstan. And I will be having some more workshops coming up, probably maybe later in springtime through American Corners. So I'll make sure that I communicate that to ATENK, and ATENK can send out communication to all of its members when those are set up and ready. Okay, all right. So in this session here, you will learn to identify, first off, what is American English? Okay, what is this site and where are the main areas of the content? You'll be able to learn to recognize specific online resources that can be applied to Kazakhstan's English education program and how to adapt them to different topics. So that's kind of like the really specific point that I hope that would really help you with your English video contest. And also towards the end, we will utilize a Webquest to help us explore together the American English website and its resources. And hopefully if we have enough time, it might be kind of quick, but I just want to have us kind of collectively share some insight, some knowledge. So hopefully maybe each one of us can maybe learn about one or two new kind of video editing programs that potentially you could use for creating these wonderful videos that I know that you'll be making. Okay, so that's kind of what we're looking at come up in this session. So let's start first with, let's collectively build some of our knowledge and what we do know about as of right now. So, and it'll be best just for us to, because of our numbers in this group, having over 40 participants, let's go and put our answers into the chat. Okay, so please stay muted, but share actively in the chat. Here's the first question. So, what do you know about American English online resources? Okay, so go ahead, feel free, answer the question in the chat, whatever you know about American English, or known as AE online resources.
Yeah, just don't be shy, just type in a chat box whatever you know, what American English resources is. Maybe you've heard about them, maybe you don't know. Even if you don't know, don't be shy to share that. Okay, we are getting some answers here. Ekaterina says there are a lot of useful books on the website. So I assume she knows, and she even knows what kind of specific resources there are.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay. Teacher's Corner.
Rausa. Yeah, Rausa says there is a Teacher's Corner. Okay. Aliyah says, I've never used this website, which is fine. That's why we are here tonight and trying to learn what this website is about.
Okay.
Yeah, so some people know, some people don't know.
Okay. So potentially then, so some of my next question, I'm not sure then. So what resources? So it seems like a few of you do know of it. You did already specifically mention about the Teacher's Corner. Okay, so there's something specific resource from the site that somebody targeted to use in their teaching practice. And anybody else, like specific maybe things that they've used?
Katerina says she never used like before in her classroom.
Let's give a few more seconds, see if anybody else wants to respond here.
British Council resources. That's actually good. We can talk about that. When I'm trying to explain some teachers about American English resources, I tell them like some similarity to British Council. I think that's a good like kind of linking that Ria is making here. Dilnara says MOOCs. Dina says talks about MOOCs too, and Rauza is being honest, and she said visited but not used. Okay.
Okay, and that's okay then. So that's what we're here to work on this with our collective knowledge. Okay, so I think the last question, I think we'll kind of skip this one here because we've gotten a fair amount of some insight from some of the participants already about what they know and what they've used it for. And I think we'll kind of leave it at that, and then we'll continue exploring this now together. So thank you everyone for your responses, and do please, I encourage you guys to use the chat. Don't hesitate to send out a question, okay? All right, so I think the best thing then is, because I think there are, quite a few of us that may not be very familiar or have very limited understanding or knowledge of this site itself. Okay, so you can see the link on the screen, and I'm going to flip over to the website right now just to just a very quick kind of navigational tour of the main kind of categories and areas where you would obtain these resources for your video. Before we get into specific resources, I just want you to know the main categories and areas that you should understand where to go if you're looking for a certain type. So again, it's going to be, you can see the red arrow pointing to it. So the site is americanenglish.state.gov. Okay. So it's americanenglish.state.gov. If you wanted to flip over there to explore, I'm going to go there right now. Okay. So let's go ahead and take a look. Okay. And Albina, can you see the American English website?
Yes, we can see the website.
Yeah. Right. So everybody, so here's basically what you would see when you land on the homepage for the site, American English. And the main things that I would want to point out is that really we're like the bulk, majority of all the resources. Of course, it's quite obvious it's going to be in this tab called resources. If you highlight it right here, it'll expand to some subcategories. And a lot of the subcategories are a little bit more kind of self-explanatory here. I mean, if you're looking for anything regarding some resources or techniques or anything regarding any of like the 4 skills, you have a category for that. Specifically, there's another category if you're looking for some games or some other kind of miscellaneous things about studying or things about American culture. They have a category. A lot of you may already have seen before some of the American English webinars they've been conducting and having their series going for quite a few years now. In fact, actually, they have the next series is going to be starting, just to let everybody know, what is it, about 2 weeks, a little less than 2 weeks. I believe it's on the 27th of January. It will start back up again for the next American English Live webinar series begins. Okay, you can go to their website, American English. You can go to their Facebook site, American English for Educators, to be able to find the live stream for that one. Okay, and going back, MOOCs. One of you mentioned before about MOOCs. Some things for the Teachers Corner. Some of you mentioned about Teachers Corner. And also, if you're interested in about comics, they have a specific section to help guide you in regards to resources about using comics in your English language teaching practices. Now, a couple of the other main things are navigation. Just kind of let you guys know that the About Us, maybe not necessarily for your video contest, but they do have an area where you can go to find out about some of their programs that they do offer, okay? And then as well as social media, because they do run 2 sites. I mentioned one of their sites, American English for Educators, which is the one that's going to be specifically for English language teaching practices and for teachers worldwide in the field of English language teaching. But they also have another website that's American English at State. Okay, and that Facebook site is more for just general English language learning and for learning about American culture and things going on and American news. Now, it's great because you could always find some topics or some points maybe for your lessons there, because they do cover a lot of, like, there's things about history, about geography, about holidays, you know, so they always have a lot of info on that Facebook site. But there are 2 Facebook sites. And the last tab I want to show you then is English Teaching Forum. This is for the magazine that they've been publishing for over 50 years. And you can be able to get current issues and past issues. And there's many different articles where not just articles for methodology, teaching techniques, but they also have a lot of great articles about just games, other single activities that you can use, as well as also they have some insight into what other teachers do around the world. So this one's also good for professional development and also to find some good activities potentially for your videos there. Okay, so those are really the main tabs I want to show you for this navigational tour. And really, you know, we'll explore a little bit more together, but a lot of the exploration will be up to you. But these are just the main tabs where to find it, resources. The things that I talk about, you'll be able to find within these 3 tabs. Okay. All right, so let me flip back over to my presentation. Okay. All right. So now that I showed you the website, there is one other place I would like to mention about where you can also get some additional resources. American English does have a YouTube channel, and the link I have on the slide. And just to let everybody know that I will send my PowerPoint here that I'm using. I'll send it to Albina, and so she can distribute that more effectively to all the participants and members of ATENK. So that way, you don't need to worry about trying to save and copy all the links right now. So everybody will get all of this content, all these links. You'll be sent that one. So don't worry about trying to capture that right now, taking some screenshots. Okay, so going back to the YouTube channel, their YouTube channel, the reason I'm pointing it out is because there are some really good playlists where there's a lot of content things that you could actually use for the video contest, for the videos that you'll be making. Okay, so for an example, for English language learners, ranging from like upper beginner to advanced, for instance, they have 19 different videos on phrasal verbs. Okay, and so some of these videos, maybe if you're doing picture in picture, you could use some of these videos going in the background of while you're talking or instructing. Okay, or you can just borrow the content from those videos. So again, so maybe your specific grammar point or language point, maybe you want to work on phrasal verbs in your video. Maybe it's idioms. They also have a playlist that focuses specifically on gerunds and infinitives, and there's 13 different videos within that playlist. So you can kind of see that. So if you're wondering about maybe some content specifically to help you with maybe your language point that you would focus on in your video, okay, they got playlists covering many different areas of language that you want to focus on. And so this can be a good spot again to go to their YouTube channel. Okay, so again, I've used it a lot in the past before. There's hundreds of more videos there, more than what I've just mentioned. And also you can find all of their previous webinars for your own professional development. You can find those, like all of my webinars that I did through American Corners, all 5 of those sessions. You can find that playlist in the American Corners YouTube channel. Okay, so there you can also maybe find some potential information, but American English YouTube channel is probably your best bet to find some content for your video contest. All right, so let's move forward here to the next one and just checking to see if there's any kind of questions or anything here. Okay.
Yeah, there is a question. Elena Birendakova asked if she says that she read Forum magazine and she participated webinars from the American English Live on Facebook, and she's asking if she can borrow ideas for video lessons from these resources. And I think we decided that yes, you can use these ideas for your video lessons. It's actually a very good point Ekaterina asked. So if you already used or read Forum magazine and American English webinars, yes, please use them if you want, if it fits to your video lesson, yes.
And I think too, you know, as professionals, all of us, you know, we should also, you know, make sure that I guess I could say credit is given where it is due. So again, any kind of resources or things that you do use, you know, make sure that you do cite somewhere within either in the beginning or the end of like your video. So if there is any kind of resources that you do use, you borrow the framework, anything like that that you use. So again, make sure that I think that everything probably should be properly mentioned or cited in your video. But yeah, you can use any of those. That's good to hear. That's fair game for anybody. Okay.
I forgot to mention that I will send you an updated version of the video lesson plan, and in that template there will be a section. You should actually make a reference to the link and resources you used from the American English website. Okay,
Yeah.
I will send you with August's presentation.
Okay, all right. Okay, so going forward, so that was kind of the what I want to share with you in regards to navigation and just kind of like the main places that you can go to for the information. Before we kind of get more deeper into like the specific resources that I want to highlight. So before I get into that, I want to give you a little bit more of kind of some background about where I'm coming from. Okay, I don't mean like where physically I live, more like my experience and understanding, and I think probably why, you know, ATENK asked for me to come and speak to everybody to share some of this insight because of my understanding. And just to say, I mean, let everybody know that, you know, yeah, of course, as Albina mentioned, I did work before for NIS or NISH, as you say it. So, I mean, I did work for NIS Coxshatau. So, I mean, of course, I've gone through, you know, for the English language program for NIS. Of course, I mean, I've gone through that. But to let everybody know that I have also studied and gone through all of the programs for mainstream schools as well. And I put a lot of time and effort into making sure going through it. Now, on my screen, you guys can see here, what I've done actually is I've actually made a spreadsheet where I went ahead and extracted, you know, I went through the programs and extracted all the different units and some of the content that's covered in the units to kind of help organize. And that's kind of what helped guide me in the upcoming highlighted resources I will share with everybody. I've used this chart that I've made to help guide me to be able to identify maybe some key kind of topics that are within the units that are actual units within your English language program for mainstream schools. Okay, so I'm not just speaking about, you know, what I've seen in the NIS program, you know, but to be honest with you, you know, kind of some of the things that I've learned and studying you know, the programs, you know, for NIS and for mainstream schools in Kazakhstan is, you know, there's actually a lot of similarities. Yeah, there are some differences, you know, maybe some differences in like the learning objectives a little bit. But in general, you know, there's a lot of similarities is one of the kind of takeaways that I picked up from comparing the two programs. And it's probably kind of small, so maybe it's kind of hard for you to see the little screenshot that I put up here of my chart. This was just specifically for the 5th through 11th grade, because I've gone through the program for primary school for grades 1 through 4, for secondary school, the program for grades, you know, 5 through 9, the program for 10th grade, both tracks, humanities and the science tracks. I've gone through for the 11th grade, both tracks for humanities and science, you know, and that's what you can see kind of in these different colors of different grades, all the different units. And believe me that, you know, there is some like overlap, and but you can find these topics, you can find this content, you can find things in American English that will help you for your video lesson that you're making. And also there's a lot of different frameworks that you can borrow, and I'll talk about that as well. But so I just wanted to let you guys know that before I come up to these next few slides here telling you specific resources, that I have gone through the programs. And so I'm not just saying like, oh, you could use this. I mean, specifically, I know which units for which grade specifically you can use some of these American English resources for in creating your video, okay? And I'm gonna go over that over the next few slides, okay? All right. So here's the first one, okay, that I want to share with everybody. So let's just start, let's start with like high school. Okay, let's go right into those grades. So if you are currently, you know, if you teach those grades, if you're a high school teacher, and that's where you plan on for your, you know, for your targeted kind of audience for your video that you're going to make. So whether it's like grades 9 or 10 or 11, the resource that I want to focus on is American Teens Talk. Okay, now I included the link, and again, I'll share the slides. Albina can send these out to everybody. But the first one here is American Teens Talk. What is American Teens Talk? It's a collection of about 30 interviews. So we're talking about a lot of interviews. That's a lot of interviews. 30 interviews with regular, everyday American teenagers. Okay. Now, each one of these interviews comes with, of course, an audio track of the interview itself, but also it comes with the text. And yeah, it does include kind of like a transcript, but it goes further than that transcript, and it actually contains content support, things that are covered within that interview, and it helps provide some questions for the basis of maybe your analysis or for comprehension and understanding of the video. So whether you can use those questions or modify those questions. And in a moment, I'll pull up an example just to show you what I mean by this. But for specific grades and what I feel that what you can pull from some of these interviews and where you can focus on is for grade 9, there's some interviews that focus on charity and hobbies and sport, traditions and music. And I felt that, so if you're focusing on grade 9, there's interviews that focus on those topics. Now for grade 10, controversial issues, or your unit on stress and fears, you know, or creativity. Again, these are real, average, everyday American teenagers, just like teenagers in Kazakhstan. And there's a lot of just teens think alike. Doesn't matter what country they're in. I feel that these are very engaging, and your students, your learners in Kazakhstan in high school can probably really kind of identify with these American teens, because it's like stressed about, you know, the interviews talk about stress about exams, you know, university prep, you know, people that inspire them, their family, things like that. And for grade 11, you know, for interviews, being able to make statements and provide info, there's a lot of self-expression in there. Okay, so whatever grade that you're kind of focusing on there, kind of in that high school area, this is the resource that I would target, that maybe you want to pull something for your video. let me go ahead and pull it up and show you specifically one example of an interview, just so you kind of see what I'm talking about. Okay, so let me flip back over to that. Okay. Okay, so American Teens Talk, and basically you'll see here's all those interviews. Like I said, I think there's like about 30 interviews. It's a lot of interviews, and they all are listed by the interviewee's name. Okay, and so if you just click on one of them, I'll show you. So you don't need to spend a lot of time reading every interview. Let me try to zoom in a little bit so maybe you can see it just a little bit more clear. So for instance, here's Bianca's interview. And if you just look here, they give you a summary of the interview. So that way it'll be easier for you depending on which grade that you're targeting for your video plan. Basically, you can just look at the summary to see if the content in that interview is going to match up to a unit or topic within your grade that you can use to make sure you're actually following Kazakhstan's program. Okay, so again, and you can do that for each one. And again, here's the text, and then it shows you the MP3 for the audio track. And I'll just pull up one of the text just to kind of show you what I meant by more than just a transcript. Okay, so here's Bianca. It's a real person. It's authentic language. Of course, that's really important for English language teaching. You want things to be authentic and you want it to be meaningful. So here's Bianca, here's her responses, here's the questions. Okay, and then like I said, so they give you some support about words, a lot of focus maybe on language chunks as well, some points of reference in here, like what do they mean by this? And then at the bottom, there's always going to be some discussion questions as well here. And it's the same format for all of the interviews. So every interview has the audio, every interview has the text with the language support and the discussion questions to go along with the transcript and a picture of the person. So maybe this is something that you can use, okay? So that was my suggestion for high school, okay? I don't know if we have any questions here. Albina, is there any questions right now for me or?
No questions, but just like thanking you.
Okay.
And I think I really agree. I think you did a great job, really making like analysis of our subject program and trying to fit it with the American English resources. Thank you.
Yeah. So let's go on to the next one here. So kind of the next section, I don't know what I'm not exactly sure maybe how you would label it. I guess in the US, we might kind of label this age range as like junior high. Okay. But so say you're targeting junior high. Okay. And I'm talking about things basically maybe in between primary school and high school. So like those other secondary school grades, whatever you would call them. Here's the resources I suggest you using from American English that might help you, which would maybe be more appropriate for this range, okay? So there's 3 specific resources that I suggest, okay? The first one is called Dialogues for Everyday Use. The second one is called More Dialogues for Everyday Use. And the third one is Everyday Conversations, Learning American English, okay? Now, you can see kind of the GR and then the numbers. I mean, it's not like an absolute analysis. I kind of just gave it the eye test as to the language grading that I thought would be most appropriate, like which grades. So I would probably say that of these 3 resources, Dialogues for Everyday Use would probably maybe be more appropriate for like grades 5 through 7. And then now the More Dialogues for Everyday Use maybe would be slightly a little bit, maybe a little higher, maybe 7 to 8. And then the Everyday Conversations probably could be used for like grades 7 through 9. So just to tell you just kind of basically briefly about these dialogues and conversations, these dialogues are short, okay? They're not really massive or these really long things. So they're very short dialogues. They're all situation based. It's good for naturalness. Again, we're trying to make sure that things are authentic. And again, the more authentic, the more meaningful, you know, for the English language learning, okay? Now,
Пошли, иди сюда, Мансур.
okay, so now one thing about these, because these dialogues,
Микрофоны выключите, пожалуйста.
so that why, since these dialogues are short, they can be memorized. So again, if maybe if in your video, you just want to maybe just focus on kind of maybe pronunciation, you know, you really just want to emphasize pronunciation. And then that wise, they're short enough to where, you know, you can have students try to memorize certain things, just focus on that. Whatever's your point and purpose, your objective that you're trying to do in your videos, okay? They do come with pictures as well. So before each and every dialogue or conversation, you know, there is visual support. Pictures are provided to you. Plus there's also language notes to go along with each one of these dialogues. That the language support, mostly the notes focus on, you know, informal phrasing and also any kind of like idiomatic language, you know, so things that maybe really need to be kind of broken down for a better understanding or comprehension of some of the language chunks being used. In a minute, I'll take an example. I'll pull up the dialogues for everyday use and show you what I mean. But again, breaking things down by grade, I would say here, so grade 6, you know, based on looking at your programs for the units and some of that content and topics, there's dialogues specifically that will focus on health, ones for holidays and travel, and also ones that will focus on transport. Okay, for grade 7, hobbies and leisure, healthy habits, and clothes and fashion. Okay, and then in grade 8, there's one for food and drink and sport and health. Okay, so if you're targeting those grade ranges in your video, there are dialogues or conversations that do focus on this topic. So you can maybe gear your content from your part of the program for your grade to those areas like that. So let me go ahead and I'm just going to pull up not each one of those resources, but I'm just going to pull up the dialogues for everyday use and show you that one, okay? Okay, and then let's say here, maybe let's say like, I don't know, I'll just show you kind of the table of contents just to make it easier for you guys there, so you can see the general thing. Let's see. So, okay, let's go ahead and go back to this. And okay. All right. So here's the dialogues for everyday use. Okay, they give you a little intro and who it's by. Okay, then you have your download here for your text. Okay, so it's just one big kind of PDF book, basically. I mean, it's not like a massive book with hundreds of pages, but let me just show you. I'll just pull it up here and you can just kind of take a quick little look at it. Okay, it's 61 pages. It's not really huge. But the nice thing about this one, to help you guys, again, you know, we're all English language professionals. Time is limited. We always want to be able to do something that can help us save time. And this resource will help you to save time because in the beginning, there is this wonderful table of contents. Okay, so really just take a look, whatever is your grade that you're focusing on for your video, you know, go through the program, look at the topics from the units that you cover in that grade, and you can just look at the table of contents here, and you probably can just quickly just give the eye test, and you can go, okay, look, I see this topic, I can use that. For instance, I see, for instance, on page 27, dialogue 13, health. Right after it, I see sports, okay? So again, very quickly, you can just make a very quick assessment. Can I use this? What can I use in my video based on my program? And there you go. So, and then I'll just show you here, I'll just scroll to like the first one. And again, here's that picture I said. They provide you a visual for support that you can use, you know, for any kind of like maybe previous kind of, you know, eliciting or trying to get anything, predictions, trying to see what maybe potential learners might know of. Again, so you can use these pictures for whatever kind of purpose as well in your videos. And then after that, is the dialogue. And again, a lot of these are very short. This one here is really short. It's a very simple, short greeting. And again, I'll try to zoom in even more, make sure it's as clear as possible. You can see first it'll give you the dialogue, and then there's the language notes after it, okay? And it's gonna be this format for all of the dialogues, okay? Again, picture, dialogue, language notes, okay? So hopefully that's gonna be helpful for some of you that may be focusing on those kind of junior high grades, you know, from like maybe like 5, 6, 7, 8, in that grade range, okay? All right, let me flip back to my presentation. Let's see how we're doing on time here. 13, 18 minutes. Okay, I think we're all right here. Okay, so that's junior high. Okay, so we still have primary school. And let me talk a little bit about primary school. So primary school, what can I say about primary school? So here's the thing about primary school is that when you have this young of English language learners, it's obvious that there needs to be quite a bit of some support and scaffolding. And you're obviously got to use, you know, for the first language for the students, for instructions, for other support, for things like that. You know, and the thing about American English online resources, first off, is that everything's completely in English. So the first thing I got to say is that the problem with maybe potentially with primary school is that, you know, there is nothing in Kazakh or Russian, you know, so you're going to need to take resources and you're going to need to modify them to make sure that there's appropriate level of support and stuff, whether it's through the instructions, things written on, you know, on your screen, whatever you're saying orally for instructions, you know, everything's going to need to be modified to help them with that one. So what I suggest for those of you that will be focusing on primary school, you know, very, very young learners, you know, from grades like 1 through 4, is that, you know, borrowing framework from specific activities that you can use. And so here's my suggestion is maybe here, you actually, the primary school teachers, you may want to actually go to English Teaching Forum magazine, okay? You may want to pull up forum issues, the current one or past issues, and pull out specific activities that you can borrow the framework for. And then that way you can modify those activities to make sure that it's going to be appropriate for your level of learners, okay, to make sure everything's clear and they can comprehend and understand things. So for example here, what I want to share with you is there's a section in the English Teaching Forum magazine called The Lighter Side. And basically what the lighter side section is typically in every issue in Forum magazine. The lighter side will provide you with like a short, simple type of game. Now, these are great because these are great to be modified, you know, for subject-specific vocabulary and foundational practice with the 4 skills. So I think this would be a very simple and easy kind of transition toward you can take that activity, you can take the framework, and then put into something that you can use into your video for very young learners in Kazakhstan. For example, from the current issue of Forum magazine, there's the game's called, the activity's called Sounds Good. Okay, that's the name of it. So if you go back to English, the American English, the website, and you go to the tab for the Forum magazine, if you click on the current issue, you'll be able to see this content. I just cut out a little bit of a screenshot here to show you an example, just give you a visual guide. So basically, like, this activity sounds good. It's about rhyming words and what word is the odd word out that doesn't rhyme. Basically, they give you 2 guide words. So for example, here you can see, and it might be kind of small, I'll read it out, good and food, okay? And so that way, you're just trying to find words that rhyme with good and words that rhyme with food. So for good, you know, hood, stood, okay, like that. Food, mood, sued, okay, so you can see how those rhyme. And basically there's going to be 1 word that doesn't rhyme with either one of the guide words. And the point is, it's just to find out, okay, so what is that odd word out? So maybe this, can help with potential problems, maybe regarding spelling, if you're just introducing the alphabet and you're working on spelling with your very young learners, or just for pronunciation practice of sounds within the English language. So again, you can just take the framework, modify to be most appropriate for your level of learner, and and then you can take the topics from your program and you can just put in that subject specific vocabulary, whether it's animals or health. Okay, and then you can just put that into it. Okay, so that's what I suggest for primary school teachers, if that's going to be your targeted audience in your video. Okay, I'm looking at time here. Any other questions, Albina? If you can check the chat, please.
Just again thanking you, Любовь says, August, you have discovered a new resource for me. Thanks a lot.
Okay. Oh, I'm glad to hear that. So that's why I'm here to try to help you guys, so you guys kind of know where to start. Okay, I'm sure you have fantastic ideas. I know that the English teachers of North Kazakhstan, I've worked with you other times before in the past, and I know you guys are extremely talented, and I know that there's just so much, untapped potential there in North Kazakhstan, from all the English language teachers and professionals there. So hopefully, yeah, this information providing will give you kind of a building block of a resource, and then you can just apply all your wonderful and creative knowledge you have to make a great video for this contest, this wonderful opportunity that ATENK is providing to you. Looking at the time here, let's see, probably, I didn't want to keep you guys too long. I know it's late in the evening already here. Maybe we can wrap up things in maybe about 15 minutes here. I wanted to do a task with everybody. I'm looking at the time. Maybe we can just do a little bit of it. The quote I have up here on the screen, it might be a little blurry. I'm sorry, I'm realizing that now. But it says, learning should be an active process. Too often students come to school to watch their teachers work. Again, let's transform our classrooms from passive learning into active learning environments. And I feel that you guys have been watching and listening to me maybe too much during this session. So I really wanted you guys to kind of get some hands-on exploration of the American English website through a Webquest that I'd be glad to share with everybody. But since we are kind of limited on time, maybe we'll just do maybe Albina, maybe we can just do a few questions together, maybe kind of a little bit some sport. We'll modify it for the time that we do have left here, because I did want to also do one last little task with everybody to help see if we can share some knowledge about video editing programs. But for those of you that maybe now, if you've been with Albina and you've been through some of her training and stuff and her other webinars, probably maybe you're familiar with what is a Webquest. Okay, so maybe you've done that with her. Maybe you've done it with me, and I've done Webquest before in some of my webinars. But basically, for those of you that may not be familiar with what a Webquest is, according to teachnology.com, they say that it's an inquiry-based activity where students are given a task and provided with access to online resources to help them complete the task. Now, this is an ideal way to deliver a lesson over the web. So what does this emphasize? Well, it emphasizes the student's role in the learning process. It basically is changing things from a passive environment into a more active learning environment. You could say that a Webquest is a discovery learning tool. You could use it to begin a lesson or to end a lesson. Either way, there's many different stages within your lesson that you could use a Webquest. And so Webquest in general, I would say, obviously help promote collaboration because students can do this together very easily. Of course, you're introducing usage of technology, so it helps with that competency. And as well as, like I mentioned before, it's going to transform your lesson from passive learning into more active learning, which of course, therefore, is going to stimulate more cognition, okay? Therefore, maybe even getting even more higher order thinking skills. For example, if you're doing through like online teaching now that we're doing, so if you're doing online teaching, say for instance, you have a PowerPoint and you're just showing some slides, like some pictures, that's very passive learning. Maybe you're just showing pictures of a site or a resource, okay? Maybe you make it a little bit more active to where you're doing a demo and showing them live about this resource. It's a little bit more active, still kind of passive. Or you can make it much, much more active by actually having the participants or learners involved in searching out these resources, and that was what the purpose of Webquest would be for. So I'll just put the link out here and then into the chat, and then let's just do maybe like a few questions together, and that'll be kind of about it. If you do have a QR code scanner on your phone, you can go ahead and scan the QR code on the screen to pull up the form, but I will copy and put the link into the chat right now, okay? All right. Okay, let me take the link. Oops. That was, okay. Chat. Okay. All right. So it should be in there. So does everybody see the link in the chat?
Yes, we got the link. So dear teachers, can you please open the link? I'm also opening the link. Okay. So we need to go to the American English website, right?
Correct. Okay, so you want to go
Can
to
you provide the link
Mm.
of the American English? Ah, it's there, sorry.
Yeah, it should be the top, yeah, the Webquest will be the link, okay? And I'll just kind of scroll down and we can do kind of question by question here together. So let me just kind of show you.
Can I ask you, is your website is working? Because that americanenglish.state.gov website is not available, it says.
Huh, let me just check, see what's going on here.
No, that link from the form. Can you use that link from the form?
That one maybe there's something wrong. Maybe it's a broken link. Let me just go ahead and quickly put into the chat here. Here is, so I just put into the chat, everyone, the link to this website, to American English. Okay, so it's in the chat right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Любовь says it worked with her, but for me it didn't work. It again. Okay, yeah, it works.
Okay, all right. Okay, everybody, so again, so based on time here, let's just take just a few minutes and just do a couple questions. So the first question, okay, let me zoom in a little bit more here so we can see it. Okay, so the very first question, so from the American English website, okay, and then going to the resources tab to the Teachers Corner subheading, okay? So the question is, which Teachers Corner topic discusses about a social media platform for educators? So go ahead, everybody, you can put your answer into the chat. Okay, just a few more seconds for it. Okay. Okay. All right. So let's see what we have here for some responses here. Okay. All right.
Jazira says professional development.
Okay. But
or do we need to say specific social media?
Yeah, correct. Yeah. So which topic. So there's going to be kind of like a, kind of like the focus of that specific teacher's corner.
Okay. So, dear colleagues, I think I know where you're talking about, Jazeera, but I think August wants to hear like a specific name of that social media.
Correct. Yeah. So not just the general like category where teacher's corner could be found, but it would be like, yeah, a little bit more specific to the name of that topic of that specific teacher's corner. There we go. I think I see.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So yeah, Dina, I see has, yes. So Twitter for educators. Yes. Yes. So that's the one that I was referring to. So which one is it? It's the Twitter for educators. There's many different Teachers Corner topics. Now, going beyond just for your video contest, I actually use the Teachers Corner, those different topics. I use it actually for a lot of my sessions that I do. I use them for my sessions at the university in Kazakhstan. I've used it before there, you know, in NIS before. The Teachers Corner topics are great. It's one of the best resources there in the website. So I definitely recommend you guys to, you know, use Teachers Corner topics that they provide you. Okay, great. So let's just take a look. Maybe let's do one more here. Let's see here. How about this next one here? Oh yeah, this is an appropriate one because it's one of the main resources you can use for the video task. So question number 2. So go to the website and back to resources again. Now the subcategory of the teaching the 4 skills. And now specifically I want, who is the author of more dialogues for everyday use? Okay, so who's the author of that resource?
Okay, we're going there. I'm trying to find it. We already, I think, have some answers. Maybe more answers. Wow, 3 people already typed their answers in the chat box.
All right.
So they say Dean Curry.
Yes, yes, that is correct. Yeah, it is. It is Dean Curry. So that is, and again, that's one of those highlighted resources that I definitely recommend for like our, again, for our maybe junior high teachers. Okay, and again, so that one's the more dialogue. So there's one that's called dialogues, and there's one that's more dialogues, and then there's the everyday conversation. So again, those are some of my highlighted resources. Very good. Okay, now one more, okay, because I just want us to try the English Teaching Forum. Okay, so this will be the last question because I want us to try this. So 3rd question, everybody. So again, from the AE website, now you want to go to the tab that says English Teaching Forum, and you want to go to the subheading of current issue, okay? And it's going to pull up the content from the current issue of Forum magazine. What article focuses on improving your usage of technology? So go ahead and put the title of that article into the chat.
We're having here some answers. Maybe more answers.
Yeah, looks like we all got it here. Okay, look, great. So look like you guys know where you can find the information for that. Now I gotta warn everybody, I need to find out what happened, but I just got through checking, like just before this one here, the past issues search feature on the website. So for you to be able to search for the past issues of Forum magazine, currently that search feature is down. Now, if you went to the general website to search for it. They still have all the past issues, but that really helpful tool for the search for past issues, it's currently not working. I'm going to try to find out from my contacts when that's going to be fixed, because it just saves us time. Like I've emphasized, you know, anything that can save us time is teachers is always helpful. But right now it's down. Just let everybody know that if you're wondering, like, hey, it's not showing anything, that part of the website's down. All right.
I just noticed that that article about digital age pedagogy, the author is Valerie Sartor, and she's from Kazakhstan. I'm not sure, maybe she's an English language fellow or something working in Kazakhstan.
She could have been possibly, yeah, a past fellow is correct.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, definitely. There's been a lot of good contributions to the Forum magazine from Kazakhstan, teachers and other things and studies. So great. So that was just kind of a quick little demo. I know we're basically about out of time. If you bear with me and just give me a couple more minutes, there's something else that I want to share with everybody that I think that you guys will appreciate, okay? And maybe even Albina, this might be something new for you that you may not know about actually, so something new for everybody. Let me show everybody here, so I'm going back to my screen. Mentimeter. Albina, are you familiar? Do you know of Mentimeter?
I think I've heard of it, but I never used it. I think I've heard of it.
Okay. You know, maybe this is something that, the main thing is I want to use this to see what kind of knowledge we have collectively about video editing tools, but just kind of just using that, and also, again, just expanding our knowledge as English educators, and something that potentially that we can use in our lessons going forward. This is really great for online lessons. It's just a creative way that to make these fun, interactive presentations. There's many other types of programs and software and apps that do this, but this is one that I've come across recently, and I really liked it because I want to show you this one feature of a word cloud builder. And I know we know what word clouds are, but it had a very nice one here. So let me pull up my Mentimeter, and we're going to end our session today doing this kind of this like really quick and easy little task that's kind of interactive here. So again, when you're creating your presentation or your slides, you go to mentimeter.com. But when it comes to the audience participation, it's going to be menti.com. And I'll show you this here in a moment. Let me just pull this up here, and okay, this thing's in the way here. Okay, pulling it up here, bear with me. All right, there we go. Okay, all right, so that way, so basically everyone, if you go to menti.com, okay, so you can see there on the slide, it says menti.com, menti.com. And if you just type in that code, it's a 7-digit code you can see on the screen, 9291244. It's going to prompt you and ask you to, it'll provide you the question you see on the screen right now. What video editing programs do you know? And just collectively here, let's just take like a minute and help each other out and support each other, because maybe some of us know of some great programs to use. You know, maybe some of us may not be as experienced in what programs we can use. Again, just kind of like a starting point, a building block to help you develop your video. I'm not going to be teaching about these programs, but just go ahead and type in any answers, okay, of what you know, and it's going to build a word cloud on our screen, and you'll see that. So once I start receiving some responses from our participants here with us today, it's going to start to populate it up on my screen. Okay, so go ahead, don't be shy. Any kind of, you know, video editing or any kind of software program that you know of, if you can go ahead and just type that in. So again, go to menti.com, type in the code 9291244, and then just respond to the prompt. Okay, let me see here. Okay. I'm waiting. Don't be shy, guys. Come on, don't be shy. As soon as somebody puts in some responses here, it should pop up. There it goes. All right, you see how that popped up like that? There we go. Okay, now it's, does everybody see?
Yeah, we can see.
Okay. So as responses come in, it's going to continue to build this word cloud. So again, I know you guys are familiar with word clouds, and there's other types of applications and programs to, to make word clouds, or for various types of interactive things, whether you want to just play games, use Kahoot, things like that. Some of like the ones that we're all very familiar with. And then that was, this is just another one. It's just one that I came across more recently, and I just wanted just to share this with us. So it's just, something that maybe you can just use. Now, I don't know if you can necessarily use it in your videos because you won't really have a live audience, but just kind of going forward for our own online lessons, this is just something that works fantastic and it's great. I had a blast doing this before with one of my sessions. Man, we made, my group, we made this huge word cloud. It was just so dense on the screen. You can limit how many responses people can make to whether you want them just to do like 1 or 2 or unlimited responses. But so as we can see here, so for those of you that may not be familiar with what you can use to create your videos, I see Bandicam, Movie Maker, Viva Video. We got an InShot app popping up. Okay, Loom. Okay, I'm seeing things here. Some of these things, because I'm not really like a professional with video editing. My knowledge is very limited too, so I'm just kind of learning stuff here from you. So just again, collectively here, we're supporting each other, and that's what we do as English language teachers. As we support each other. That's one of the great things about our profession, is we're not in competition with each other. We're there to support each other, and this is just one way that we can live that value. Okay, so good.
Yes. Next week, just reminding, since we're talking about videos, next week you will have the last webinar with Alexey Derevyankin, where he will be explaining and helping you the best ways of recording the video with a technical production side.
Okay, so looks like we've gotten a handful of things. So I guess from in between, from now till the next webinar, okay, with Alexey, that you guys can explore some of these suggestions here by your peers. I'm sure if your peers are suggesting these apps or these programs, they're probably pretty good then. I would trust your peers, okay, and maybe just try a few of these here and see how they work, and just playing around with it over the next week with these video editing programs. Okay, great. So that way, I'll just kind of take a screenshot. I'll end it here with that. All right, and so that way, that's our beautiful word cloud that we made. So collectively and collaboratively, thank you everybody for those inputs like that. Okay, so the last thing that I just want to mention here is there is one program that I do want to recommend, Video Leap. Nobody mentioned it in the word cloud, but I just want to mention Video Leap. It's really a cool editing tool that you can use for your video. I did at the Eurasian National University for all my students. I did their final exam. They created videos themselves, and I received over 80 different videos from my students. And I got to say that the most coolest video, like the interface and the look and everything, was a student that used Video Leap. And this gentleman really, it stood out from all the other videos, from the design and like the technical aspect and layout of everything. So I do recommend maybe this is something you can check out over the next week, is Video Leap. There's some great tutorials. I added them onto my slide here to check out Video Leap. But maybe it's just another thing you can check out before your next webinar session. Okay. All right, everybody. So thank you, everyone. That's basically kind of all that I wanted to share. If anybody has any questions, please, you can contact me via email, august.garnsey@gmail.com. Let me go ahead and stop sharing here. Okay. All right,
Thank you
everybody.
so much, August. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your presentation. I think it was really helpful for teachers. And as August said, we will share the presentation with you via email. And if you have any questions, you can email August. Please don't be hesitate to email August about the resource or any other questions you have. August, I again want to thank you for your such an effort about these subject programs and trying to align them with the American or map to map American English resources with Kazakhstani subject program for English language subjects for English language subject program. Thank you so much. I hope it was useful for our contestants. And so I just to wrap up, I want to say that use any resources you find on American English. It could be their resource on the website. It could be some ideas from Teaching English Forum. It could be their YouTube channel. Anything you can see with American English branding, you can use it. And again, I want to just to remind you that I will send you a new template. It will be the same, but there will be one line, one section where you need to say what specific resources you took and you're using in this in your video. Okay. Thank you so much, August, again. Let's wish good luck to our contestants, because I think they are very dedicated to spend their evening with us, trying to watch the webinar and learn something new and more. Thank you again, August, and dear teachers.
Thank you very much, everybody. Again, a pleasure being here. Thank you, ATENK, for inviting me, Albina, and I wish everybody good luck with their videos. I'm sure it's going to be a great product coming out, and I'm looking forward to hopefully I get to see some of these finished products after the contest is done. Yeah. All right.
Okay, thank you so much, and have a nice evening. Goodbye.
Goodbye, everybody.